Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pink Power Live. We are so excited for tonight. We have not had Pink Power Live for a while. We've been busy with the holidays, and everyone has been so patient, and we are so excited to get back to Pink Power Live. And we are really, really excited because we have a really special, amazing guest. So, Shirley, go ahead and introduce.
Hey everybody, I'm Shirley and I'm super excited that we have Christin Lucas on the call tonight. She is an ambassador, a silver ambassador on my team in July. She started as a customer in May. I won't go too much into her story, but just to give you guys a quick little idea of who Christin is, and she has totally taken off with this business and she's just inspiring. We just love watching her, and I'm so excited to hear all of your story tonight, Christin. So I'm going to pass it off to you and go ahead and fill us in on your story.
Okay, awesome. Hi guys, I'm Christin, and I'm super nervous tonight, but I'm excited to share with you guys. Like Shirley said, I started taking Plexus products in May and joined as an ambassador shortly after in July. But I was introduced to the word Plexus in September of 2015. Danny was at, we go to a local fair every year. People are crazy. We camp there for a week, 10 minutes, but it's super fun. And Danny was shaking up this pink drink and telling us how he wasn't going to eat as much fair food because he had this pink drink the first year. And it was kind of funny. I didn't know him really that well, but that's the first time I heard Plexus. And then in February, I had my second baby in my mid 30s, and it would totally drained me. And it was the first time that I really kind of considered Plexus as, something for me. If you have a medical background, I came home from having a baby and my blood count was 6.2. And I was just completely depleted of all my vitamins and just running on fumes, like a lot of moms say. So when I saw that Shirley said that I could get my energy back with this pink drink, I thought, okay, what do I have to lose? So I actually remember I was in a hotel in Chicago traveling for Mother's Day, and I saw that she posted this exclusive group, the 7-day trial. And so I was like, well, what do I have to lose? I remember being in the hotel room and being like, okay, I got to do this. I even remember sending her a screenshot of my receipt, like, here, I bought it, like, put me in the group. So, definitely when I got my stuff, and I was like 3 days into the 7-day trial, and I do remember messaging her again and saying like, oh my gosh, I really do notice a difference. And so I thought, if it's gonna work, I'm gonna have to keep taking it. So like 3 days in, I decided to order the triplex, and like pretty much the rest is history. That's what I take. But I noticed like my energy was increasing. I was having less cravings, and my need for coffee was like going down. So I made a joke. Actually, I worked with a PT that had coffee like all day long, and I never understood it. But then when I had Charlie, I was like, oh, this must be like when you implement the afternoon coffee because you like can't get through your day. So that kind of was funny when I noticed I didn't really need that anymore. And then I decided to join as an ambassador in July, and really because I thought, I'm no dummy. If I'm going to take these products, I'm going to pay less for them. And that's really why I joined as an ambassador. And I remember Shirley just touching like on the business, and I was immediately like, no, I don't have time. I don't have the energy, And she took that, and that was that. But so for the next like 60 days, I kind of sat back in the groups and watched and just kind of observed everything that was going on and soaked it up. And then, like anything else I do, I just decided to be all in. That's kind of who I am. If I'm going to do something, I'm either all in or all out. So I joined the Journeys 101 group, and it really pushed me outside my comfort zone and totally like made me try new things. And I guess that's kind of where I started and grown as an ambassador. So I did share the first 60 days like my family and friends, but really nobody else, just kind of nobody outside that as far as that goes. So anyway, November 1st was my last day at a job that I was at for 10 years. And the reason that I stepped down was because my husband was watching what I was doing with this plexus. And he's like, listen, we had been kind to go in that direction. And we just figured it with the support of him, I was able to like quit my job and really pursue this. So for the last 4 months, I've been home with my girls, and it has seriously been a blessing. I have got to, like I said, dive full into this and put a lot of my attention on this, but be with my girls and do what I love there too. So over the past 8 months, I've lost 15 pounds. I've lost like a ton of excessive belly bloat. I have no more IBS symptoms. My cholesterol numbers are coming down, which that's hereditary, and that is almost embarrassing what I started out at, but they are coming down, and my doctor's impressed with that. And the biggest like thing that I noticed is I have endometriosis. I've had surgery after surgery prior to having my children. And I struggled, if anybody has struggled with pain for that, it's like sometimes the pain was almost unbearable to the point I felt like I was going to pass out. And when I got pregnant with Charlie, I remember my doctor saying to me, you should have never gotten pregnant without getting these cysts removed. And I'm like, well, I wasn't planning on getting pregnant. So that was a complication during my pregnancy and a pain that I had. And I have had zero pain from those cysts since being consistently on the triplex. And I really attribute that to like the inflammation and overall gut health. So that's kind of been the biggest thing that I've noticed that I thought I was just going to have to live with. So, and I take the triplex, the X Factor, and the Mega X. So that's me in as much as I can concise it.
That's so awesome. I don't think I've ever heard like your full story, so I'm glad you shared that. Thank you. So you shared that you never intended on working the business. What about Plexus was so appealing to you that made you change your mind?
Well, I definitely think that it was gradual. Like my sitting in the groups for the 60 days, but was building my belief and stuff for the products. I mean, I love the way they made me feel, so that made it easy to share. So I guess it would just, that was just the gradual increase of loving the products and then wanting to share them with other people.
Love it.
Awesome. All right. So you've done an amazing job at presenting yourself on social media, like Facebook and Instagram. What tips can you share about drawing that positive attention to yourself on those outlets? Like, what are some do's and don'ts that you would say?
Well, one thing that's important to me is to be genuine. I am intentional. I try to really be intentional about not wanting to spam my friends, even like my feed, not just messaging, but my feed, because I feel like those people that are friends with me, the majority of them either requested me or I requested them because we have a genuine interest in each other's lives. And the last thing, they didn't join to have something sold to them. So I really, really try to be not spammy and use my social media to be more, provide like valuable information for them. I think that social media is polluted with like gimmicks and scams and things that people, and it makes me scroll by. So when I try to post something, I try to post something that I wouldn't scroll by, and I try to set myself apart. So I think that might be a do and don't. Really, it's not like what do you post and what don't you post, but try to set yourself apart from everybody else, because if there's 3 or 4 people posting Plexus on their feed, you want them to choose you. And so give them a reason to choose you, by giving them something that is valuable for them, like being authentic, trying to solve a problem for them, whether that's something like constipation and you talk about BioCleanse or whatever it is, but just trying to leave them better than when you found them, whether they buy something off of you or not. So I guess it's more the approach or the mindset than what you do or don't post.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great advice.
I love that. I remember we had Tamara Holloway, Diamond Ambassador, on our call a long time ago, probably sometime last year, and she said, Always post something different. Like if you see like all of your Plexus friends are posting one post, like don't post that post because everybody's posting it. Like save it and post it 30 days later. And I always try to do that because I'm thinking the same thing. Like, well, there's so many Plexus people in everyone's newsfeed. Like I don't want to post the same exact thing that everybody else is posting. So I love that tip. Okay, so can you share a rundown of how you organize your day and make sure you allot time for your business? When do you make your first priority when working your business?
Well,
I know you're good at it.
well, I like to be organized. And I come from I was an occupational therapy assistant. So I had treatments and treatment times and slots. So I kind of come from that mindset of like a schedule. And I'll tell you one thing mom life has taught me is your schedule gets blown all the time. But I do try to set some specific time every day. And I utilize my iPhone calendar a lot. Like I found like you can change the shading, and I always put emojis on my calendar because I feel like if I look at them and they're fun, it makes it more appealing to me. So I do that like on a, just a funny, quirky kind of way to motivate myself. But I always work my IPA sheet, and I kind of have made an IPA sheet based on a couple different ones from the different groups, and that's that income producing activity. I work from that. So if I have an hour and a half blocked off while Charlie's taking a nap, I try to start that because you can always get carried away with like 100 things that you want to do. So if I get interrupted or if something comes up, at least I've done those things, which are like reaching out to new people, making new friends, following up. So I kind of do that. That's what I would do first. But
that's awesome. That's good. Sometimes you can get pulled in so many different directions, and at least if you finish that for the day and you don't get to anything else, you've done those things. So that's right. That's awesome.
Do you have a copy of your list with you, Christin, by chance?
I do. I mean,
yeah,
I do. I have it right here.
Yay! I have my list too, but I bet it's different. So let's hear yours.
Have something a little bit different, but that's like whatever works for you. And that, like I said, to pull things from. I have quiet time and devotional time on there, and I write something I'm grateful for on there just to kind of remind me. I try to write 3 goals. Sometimes I don't always fill that part out, but wishing birthdays, I do that. I try to friend either 3 new friends on Facebook or connect with somebody new on Instagram. I try to post 3 times on social media, or like plan my social media schedule kind of. And I can't plan what I'm going to post about my girls and family, but I try to like come up with something, this is Heart Month. So I want to make sure I focus on Mega X and try to do that. So I kind of come up with a plan. I contact 5 new people. I follow up with a couple people, and I try to reach out to an ambassador and send an email. Those types of things are what I do. I was going to say too, like, I know what's on that IPA sheet. So sometimes I'm sitting in the mom line for an excessive amount of time waiting to get my daughter, and I'll send my birthday messages then. It's not really a time where like I can sit at my desk, but I know what I need to do. So even if you can't block out a lot of time there, you can always squeeze in an activity, while you're in your car.
Yes. Love it. And it becomes a habit.
Right.
Love it. Well, thanks for sharing that. I know that wasn't scheduled to talk about, but I was like sitting back here, like really curious of what was on your list. So this next question, I'm super excited to ask you because I've seen a huge growth in you from the beginning, just with your confidence. And so the next question, what have you learned about yourself since starting your Plexus business?
Well, I've learned to push myself further and step out of my comfort zone. And some of the people that know me might say, like, really, you had a comfort zone? Because I am pretty, like, outgoing. And my one girlfriend used to, like, she seriously would roll her eyes at me. We'd be in TJ Maxx, and I'd turn around, someone have a screaming baby, and I'd be like, oh, I can totally relate. I always struck up conversation. She's like, why are you talking to a stranger? So I've always been able to do that. But, I mean, it has pushed me outside my comfort zone. One thing, like, that I can think of that has helped me in my business is to accept the word no, and not as a rejection to me, but just to the product. And actually now I look at it as, I try to look at it as now a new way to strategize to turn the no into a yes more than rejection. because I think that we are programmed, just like growing up, we're like programmed when we hear the word no, it's a rejection. And so we sometimes take it personal. And some people, you know, are more sensitive to this than others. And I think I fell somewhere in the middle of that, you know, the sensitivity part of that. But if you can learn to get past the no is not to you, it's, you know, to these products, it's probably because they don't know why yet that it's going to help them, not that they don't, you know, not that it's no. So I guess that's been something that has helped me in my business, taking the word no and trying to figure out how you can make it a yes instead of internalizing it and making it about you. It's not about you. So I guess that would be my tip for that.
I love that. No, just I always tell everybody no means no for now. And I don't know if I've shared this recently, but somebody, I don't remember who, told me that you kind of have to think of like hearing the word no, like if you're out to dinner and somebody says, you know, your server asks you if you want pie and you don't want pie, that server might have homemade that pie, like especially themselves, but they're not walking away like, you know, super butthurt because you didn't want their pie. You know, it's nothing personal. They just don't want your pie. And like you said, they might not know that they need your pie.
Right.
Okay, so what are a couple of tips that you would like to share with a new ambassador just starting out that you didn't know when you first started?
Well, one thing I did, well, like I said, when I got my welcome packet, I wasn't really planning on selling it. So I kind of just set that on the nightstand and didn't really look through that a whole lot. But the one thing I'll say is do your Franks list. And I learned this in the Journeys group because when I first saw the Franks list, I kind of shrugged it off as like, you know, like I know who, if I'm going to contact people about this, I know who I'm going to ask. But then they challenged us in that Journeys group to sit down for like a certain amount of time and write down as many names as we could think of. And like 2 minutes into it, I was like blank. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I gotta know, I know more people than this. So when I actually sat down, I went through my Facebook, I went through my Instagram, I went through my phone directory, and I wrote down those names. It, you know, it was inspiring actually because I could see like a name I didn't think of, and I'm like, oh, I've seen a post, maybe they could use Plexus. It really starts to jog your memory. So I would say do your Franks list absolutely and work from it. I don't have that in front of me right now, but it is a hot mess. The Franks that I started out with, you know, several months ago. I have drawings and doodles and everything all over it, but it seriously has been a help. I love it. And the other thing is utilizing the scripts. I can totally relate to the new ambassador that doesn't know what to say or doesn't feel like you know enough about the product to really, you know, inform somebody. So like we have that Rockstar Scripts group. That's fabulous. You know, ask your upline for a script or whatever. I mean, several, you know, we're all in this for a while and we still use scripts every day. It cuts down on time and they're great. So use them, use scripts. It's not really, I always looked at it like stealing somebody else's wording, but it's totally not. So I would say do your Franks list and utilize scripts.
I love the Franks list. I know Shirley can probably relate. Like when I first did my Franks list, I didn't even think that I would have a bunch of people on it too. But what's crazy is when you write down like, you know, your brother's sister, you know, and then they start using Plexus because you know your brother's or your friend's brother's sister or whatever. And then they share with some people that you don't know, that you've never met. And then they share with some people that you don't know, that you've never met. The endless is like, the possibilities are endless when it comes to people. So many people think that they don't have a network and they, you know, they only know so many people. But like when you start sharing with people that you know and they start sharing with people they know, and it never ends.
Yeah, my Franks list is still growing. Like I'm currently posting in a lot of buy-sell trade sites, and as soon as they even like my status, they're my friend, and I'm messaging them, and then they go on I have a software thing on my computer. I put their name in. They go in, and I start following up with them. So your Franks list like continues to grow.
Yeah, and those buy-sell trade sites are amazing. I remember, so we just had Super Saturday in January, guys, January 9th. And Lori Cooper, our upline Diamond Ambassador, came to our Super Saturday here. And me and Christin actually went to dinner with Lori and Greg. And Lori said something that stuck out to me. And she was like, because before I didn't really use those sites very often, but she said, you know, you came from that site. And another girl on her team came from that site. And like, I'm a Ruby ambassador and the other girl is a Ruby ambassador. And like, she found us on one of those sites. So it's like, it's not always about who you know, because now all of the people that I know, you know, almost 500 people on my team are now a part of Lori's team, and Lori didn't know anyone that was on my team. So it's not really always about like having a big circle, having a big network. Like, it just could be that one person.
Right.
And it's constantly adding to that Franks list. You're never done with your Franks list. Every day you're adding to it. So
yes, so true, so true.
The next one, Christin, we have for you is, how have you tied personal development into your daily routine? And how have you applied it to your business and your daily life?
Well, when I read this question, I was thinking, like, as an occupational therapy assistant, in order to keep my license current, I had to do what they call professional development, or CEUs. And we always looked at those like, seriously, I work 40 hours, this and that. Like, I don't have time for that. And I don't know, you know, if anybody else can relate to this, but we would sit down on the computer and do all of our CEUs in like 1 or 2 nights, pay the $99 or the $199, whatever it was, to get all those CEUs. And it really wasn't about learning or growing. So I didn't really like have an open mind to it when I first like heard about it, you know, in the Plexus journey. But I'll tell you, would you say?
Oh no, go ahead. I think I just made
no. Anyway, so I just when I started to do it, I actually think I read an Eric Voorhees book. I think that's how you say it, but I read that book first. And when I started to invest, when it's your business and you're investing in yourself, it kind of like changes maybe your mindset on it. You know, when I started reading it, it was like energizing me, inspiring me, encouraging me. Like, those are words that I can think of. So I try to do my professional or personal development, however you want to say that, in the morning, because I feel like it empowers me and I can utilize what I learned in that day's work. So that's what I like to do it in the morning. You know, I normally couple it with my devotional time. Like, currently we're reading the book, The Prayer of Jabez. So I try to like work it all together, because in my life, it all goes together. But I think it's important because it supercharges me for the day to go at what I needed to go at. So
love it. I love the thought of doing it in the morning. It's so funny because after the Trolls movie came out, this is kind of silly, but this is my real life. Every single morning, the kids want to listen to that Trolls song. Oh my gosh, I can't think of it. It's a super positive song. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Get back up again. That one.
Get back up again. Yes. And the chorus is, what is the chorus? Oh my God, my mind's blank. It's, if you fall, get back up again, or whatever. And it's just such a fun, upbeat song. And the kids want to listen to it every day when they wake up. And it is like, it's silly because it's like a kid's show, but like, it's such a good song and it's so uplifting. And like, it just talks about like getting knocked down and getting back up again. And it's such a good song to like start your day to. And like, so anything inspiring that lifts you up and reminds you, you know, to get back up again when you fall down is like a good way to start your day, because then no matter what hits you in the head, you know, you get through it.
Well, this doesn't relate to a question you're asking, but I'm like that with music. I like let music talk to me. I spend a lot of time in my car. It seems, well, now that I'm a stay-at-home mom, I don't spend as much time, but I used to spend a lot of time in my car. And sometimes like that's my only quiet time, mom. So I turn on the music and I let a lot of it speak to me. My husband makes fun of me because I listen to I have a Sirius radio, Sirius satellite. I hate commercials. And if I had to give everything up, I think I'd give up lipstick and everything else before my radio. But I listen to the message, and he makes fun of me because he's like, why do you listen to this Christian music all the time? Not like, you know, I mean, I think he's making, but you know, because I could listen to pop or whatever, but it like speaks to me. And even like if I don't get time to be quiet, you know, in my Bible or whatever for the day, like I can take something that the lyric in that song and totally think upon it and reflect, and it'll change the whole outlook. So I like to listen to music. I listen to it a lot. I shut my TV off during the day and turn on my speaker and clean to that.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I do the same thing. I have a playlist that is strictly for cleaning. That's motivating. Okay. Are we on question 7, right, Shirley?
Yes.
Sorry. Okay, so you seem to do such a great job relating to your viewers. Why do you think it's so important to do that? And do you have any tips?
Well, I mean, I think being relatable is just important in life, really, because it creates connection or bond with somebody. And if you're looking at it from a plexus standpoint, someone is going to buy a product off of you, like referring back to choosing you over somebody else because they can relate or connect with you in some way. And so, like, I think being relatable it's come to me as a mom easier maybe than I don't remember in high school being relatable. I mean, who is relatable in high school? We all have those tough years. But but like as a mom, I became totally non-judgmental the minute my first daughter was born. It's like you lose, like, you just figure out, like, seriously, who knows what they're doing and why are we judging for not knowing? Like, so I mean, I think I just try to look at it that way. Like, everybody's human. I want people to know I'm human. So if I mean, I did a live video today and I did it and posted it, and then I looked at it and I thought of you, Nikki, because you always say, like, you look good when you're on social media. And I'm like, I didn't have a lick of makeup on. I just woke up. I had yesterday's mascara under here. But I did a video that was close to my heart for my sister. And I thought, like, that, I mean, that makes you relatable. Something as simple as that. Like, nobody is all done up, every minute of the day. So I just try to be real and
Love it. Your hair does always look really good, though.
It does. It does.
What does hair? What you said?
Yes, your hair always looks perfect every video.
I cut it short so we don't have to do much to it.
Oh, yes, you're very relatable, with or without makeup. All right. So I think this is the last one for you, and then we'll wrap this up. And let's see here. So we think you are just such a sweetheart and just a genuine, all-around great person. You're always smiling and always finding the positive in everything. How does this staying positive apply to your life and your business, of course?
Well, I was joking with you guys earlier when I was trying to think of how I wanted to answer this question. I seriously was reminded of a Sunday school song that we used to sing, and I'm a terrible singer, so I'm not going to sing it. But and now watching me try to think of it now. I wrote it down. I can't think of it. But here it is. Let me read it to you real quick. It says, "Joy is the flag flown high from the castle of my heart when the king is when the king's in residence there." And like when I sang it as a kid, I don't really think I even knew what it meant. But I smile because I know Jesus, and I know this is plexus. This isn't Jesus, but it's part of my life. And I smile because he lives in my heart. And not everything, believe it or not everything is always rosy. And I have my own daily struggles and things that I deal with every day. But joy is a choice that I make because I believe that, like, what we say and what we do with our mouths and daily is what we're going to see in our lives. And I want joy and I want happiness. So I choose that no matter what, that's what I choose. And everybody has a moment when they're like down, but I like to reflect on like the blessings that God gave me. And when you think of those things, like, how can you dwell on the bad? Like, how can you? And if you're a mom or a parent at all, if you're having a bad moment, like, just take a minute and seriously look at your kids. If you look at them, they're like, they don't have a care in the world and they love you unconditionally. And that's how God loves us. And so, if you can't think of anything positive, like, look at them, I guess. But I smile because I choose to smile. And I'm around negative people all the time, and you're not attracted to negative people. So if I want people to be drawn to me, I can't be negative about it.
That is so true. And I always say oops, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I was going to say, I always call you my sunshine because you're always happy and always smiling. And you're just such a joy.
It's a mindset. I think it's totally a mindset.
Absolutely. I love it. I love that. I'm so glad we got to number 8 because that was my
We did great.
We talked about before we got on the call that if we went a little short on time that we would skip the last few questions. So I'm really glad we did it.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Kristen, for getting on the call. We were just so excited. You did amazing. I don't know why you were nervous. You did so good. So thank you so much. I'm sure everybody has learned so much from all the tips you shared with us, and we are so happy you got on the call with us. So thank you.
Thanks for having me. I really was. I was honored to be on the call. I was nervous but honored. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, ladies, everybody have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Night.